Hello, Sun Lakes residents. My name is Heather, and I am your presenter today with a presentation on coyotes. Thank you all for coming. I had no idea what this crowd would look like, how many there would be. I know there was a fundraiser for an animal shelter this afternoon, so hopefully everyone went to that first. That would be wonderful. If that was a popular event. Hopefully you have that soon. I was invited by Dolores right up here in the front row. Thank you, Dolores, for inviting me. I'm here to give a presentation on coyotes, but let me just preface, I am not a biologist. I did not study biology, I didn't study coyotes. I studied English writing from the University of Nevada, Reno, and I graduated in 2008. I have, however, been a naturalist for the Wildlands Conservancy for 3 years, and the closest preserve is the Oakland Preserve in Oak Glen and Whitewater out here in the desert. And it's the same organization, and I've taught outdoor education there. I also taught outdoor education at San Bernardino County Regional Parks at Mojave Narrows out in Victorville and Yucaipa Regional Park in Yucaipa, not too far away from here. I'm a substitute teacher. I've been a substitute teacher for about 8 years in the Yucaipa and Redlands District. And I have a love for animals. I have a love for nature. I'm a volunteer ranger for the San Gorgonio Wilderness Association. I do trail maintenance. I do ranger patrol. I patrol the trails, make sure everyone is following the rules and they have their proper permits. I give ranger talks at their Grayback Amphitheater in the summer, and we have a couple more weekends for that. And if you're interested in also becoming a volunteer ranger, I have a flyer up here for the end if you are interested, and it gives you more information there. And I was invited by Dolores, like I said, because I gave a presentation at my Toastmaster Club on owls, and that's the same presentation I gave at one of the ranger talks up at Grayback Amphitheater. And Dolores loved my owl presentation. She asked me, will you do one on coyotes at Sun Lakes? And my dad and his wife, Bonnie, live at Sun Lakes, and they're here in the front row. So I'm familiar with this community. And I said, absolutely, I will. So that's what I've been doing the last few weeks, is putting together my presentation on coyotes. Raise your hand if you've ever seen a coyote here in Sun Lakes. I had a feeling almost every hand is going to go up. Maybe something bigger like a bobcat or a mountain lion. Okay, awesome. I mean, I think that's pretty awesome, but we'll talk about what to do if we see some of those animals. How about maybe a bird of prey like an owl or a hawk? Okay, so I get the feeling that because of where we're situated, we see a lot of wildlife. Is that correct? Okay, we're going to talk about how special this area is. So coyotes, let's get started. So we are here in Banning, right down in Southern California, about halfway between LA and Palm Springs. And the city of Banning is located in Riverside County, California, situated in the San Gorgonio Pass, and has always been a strong location for economic development dating back to the days of the gold rush. And I love this picture from 1917. It's an illustration of this beautiful area. And coming up, I have quite a few pictures of what Banning and Beaumont used to look like 100 years ago or more. And some of these have a story behind them, but I just want you to get familiar with the landscape before everyone moved in. It's quite rural, very rural, sparse buildings. Definitely people lived here, but not like it looks like today. This is from 1912. Armistice Day in Banning, 1920. And this is a kindergarten class from 1892. And I love this snow-capped mountain picture of our San Gorgonio Mountains. That's from 1917. And I love this picture also. It's just beautiful driving in here. Even today with all the crowds, I just love driving through this area. And looking south from Banning Canyon at Mount San Jacinto, 10,803 feet. Beautiful picture. We used to be called the Stagecoach Town, USA, but that's out. I don't know if you've heard that phrase before. City signage and logos were updated with a newer and more forward-looking slogan of endless possibilities. And looking at that landscape, there's endless possibilities here. Now Banning is the fastest growing city in the state, and it appears as if new residents are taking the city up on that promise, especially the opportunity to buy a new home at an affordable price. And as you can tell, if you've ever looked to buy a home recently, if you go anywhere outside of this area, housing prices are astronomical. They're so high, that's why a lot of people are coming out here, because they can't afford to live anywhere else. You can come to Banning to buy a house for cheaper than Orange County. It's cheaper living here, and it's always been like that. You can get a nice, affordable home that's endless opportunity, says Banning Mayor Colleen Wallace. And this is, the Desert Sun had articles what I quoted this from, and I found this just the other day. So prior to 2019, Banning went 10 years without issuing a single new residential permit, a stark contrast to the city's current population boom. Banning's population grew by 3.8% in 2020, making it the fastest growing city in California with a population of over 30,000, according to the data from the California Department of Finance. So when I come in here, I house sit for a gal that lives the opposite direction on Highland Springs. And when I drive to her house, or when I used to drive to her house, there's a whole field that was full of cows, and I could see beautiful San Gorgonio, especially in the winter, full of snow. And I would oftentimes just pull over and take a picture of it, especially right after it snowed. It's just beautiful. But now when I drive past, it's a housing development. It's just not the same. I don't pull over anymore to take pictures. Mayor Wallace wants the population to reach 60,000. Wallace said her goal is for the city's population to reach 60,000 within the next 5 to 10 years. My goal is to have more people here and have our city looking like Beaumont, Wallace said. She noted that the neighboring city of around 52,000 people boasts more jobs, homes, and businesses than Banning. And frankly, there's nothing wrong with progress. There isn't. There's nothing wrong with having people in a home that they own, raising a family, working jobs, good pay. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But there's other things that we need to consider if that's our goal. So our population is definitely growing. But don't forget where we are. Don't forget that we're in this tiny little pass area between two of the largest mountain ranges in Southern California. Let's not forget where we are. We're situated in the San Gorgonio Pass, and Banning is nestled between the majestic San Gorgonio and San Jacinto peaks, two of the tallest peaks in Southern California. This unique geological position makes Banning an essential corridor for wildlife, the folks that we've been seeing coming out of the hills and bothering our pets, and the movement between these mountain regions throughout the Banning Canyon. That means we're not alone. We have bears, and some of these wildlife pictures I did take myself, like that bear picture. We have bears, we have falcons, we have mountain lions, bobcats, raccoons. Do some of these look familiar? We have deer, we have frogs. That is a very angry rattlesnake that chased me several feet. I took its picture. We have bats, and that is a bat that I found at my house 2 years ago. We have owls. That is an owl picture that I took. And we have slow-moving desert tortoises. That I found out in the Mojave. That's not here local, but I found it in Mojave and took his picture. But they're here. They're here. And horny toads, and the reason we're all here tonight, the coyote. In fact, I had him on here twice. And I took this coyote picture out in Riverside at the Hidden Valley Preserve in Riverside. So if you're interested in reading more about coyotes, I'm going to quote this book in a couple seconds. It's called Coyote America by Dan Flores. I'm not a book promoter. I'm not an author promoter, but I have been reading this book in preparation for this presentation, and it is rich, full of coyote history and facts, and just a really neat way to appreciate the coyote in our area. So I'm going to read a quote from this book, okay, starting right here. The starting point is this: the truth that coyotes have always been solely wilderness creatures. The news media has given us a false impression that coyotes have no business in places like Los Angeles or Chicago or Manhattan or Banning or Beaumont. That is for reasons related to either the inviolable nature of modern cities or the coyote's suspect character. Coyotes in cities make up a bizarre and inexplicable invasion. Yet the archaeological and historical evidence is undeniable. For 15,000 years since we humans have been in North America, coyotes have always been capable of living among us. Something about our lifestyle has always drawn coyotes to human camps, villages, and cities. That something is ecology at its simplest, even if it makes us squirm a bit. A coyote's primary prey happens to be our close fellow travelers, the mice and rats that flourish among and around us in profusion. As for fearing us too much to tolerate our presence, coyotes have taken our measure far too prospectively for that. So coyotes definitely follow human cities and camps, and that's why they're still here. For eons, coyotes have roamed what is now the western United States with its wide open plains. Then came European settlers who cut down forests for farms and ranches in a steady east-west march. Along the way, they killed large predators such as the pumas or the mountain lions and wolves to protect livestock for their own safety. The predators they obliterated were mortal enemies of the coyote, holding them in check. So the reason we do have a coyote problem is because there's not enough mountain lions and grizzly bears, the native bear to California. They're completely gone out of California. There are no wild grizzly bears walking around because they were all shot and killed. The reason we have the black bear is because that huge animal is lifted out of our food chain, out of our ecosystem, and there needed to be a bear. We had to have a bear presence. So they shipped in some problem black bears from, I think, Yellowstone. That's how we have black bears, and they're not native here, but they are the bear that is represented, and they're not nearly as comparable to the grizzly. Grizzly bears are much bigger and a lot more aggressive. As a hiker who hikes alone sometimes, I'm a little happy about that fact. Grizzly bears are quite scary. But as mountain lions and wolf packs disappeared from the landscape, coyotes took advantage, starting a wide expansion east to west at a turn of the last century into deforested land that continues today. As you can see, as we're developing, our landscape is changing, and so the coyotes have to adjust to us also all over again. So coyotes are here to stay. If we're here, they're here. Coyotes are opportunistic. They have adapted masterfully to SoCal's urban wildlife interface, and it's not uncommon to see them roaming neighborhoods and streets after sunset. And of course, this leads to plenty of concerns, as it should. They're wild animals, but you will see them at dusk and dawn. They're crepuscular, so that means they come out at dusk and dawn, whereas an owl might come out at night, they're nocturnal, or deer might come out and they're diurnal. So you might see these guys when the sun comes up or when the sun comes down. And here's some pictures of some urban coyotes just roaming different city neighborhoods. They don't seem to be afraid of cars, are they? Not at all. That's right, he used a crosswalk, of course. He's using the stairs. He's following the rules. So here's some facts about the coyotes that we might be seeing in our neighborhoods. We might see them and not know much about them, so let's get to know them a little bit more. So what's the difference between a male and a female? Compare the sizes of the coyotes if more than one is visible. You might just see one roaming around. It's really hard to tell, but if you see two, look for one that's bigger, and they're the male, and one that's smaller, and they're the female. So a typical pack of coyotes consists of one mature male and one mature female along with their offspring. So that's what a pack is consisted of. And you might not see the coyote, but your neighbors do, and you think, gosh, I really want to see a coyote. Well, they leave signs behind. They leave animal evidence. You might see their tracks in maybe the mud. It just rained last week, so there might be some mud somewhere around here or some wet sand. Look for some tracks. And the coyote and the dog, to me, they are so hard to tell the difference. I know you guys have dogs here, so if you think a track might be a dog or coyote, frankly, it's hard to tell. There's slight differences. The center lobe has just a little section to it in the middle, but you can definitely tell the difference between a coyote, dog, fox, and a cat. Cats have retractable claws, so their paw prints don't have any claws. For dogs, they walk around with their claws out. Yeah, And then when you see them walking in a line, their back paw is going to be really close to their front paw. Whereas cats, they try to put it right on top of each other, so you only see one set of tracks, not the front and the back, like the coyote or even the dog. And this one, what do you think it is, a dog or a cat? Yeah, I don't see claws. However, it is hard to tell when you're in the dirt because the dirt and the sand do shift. But things to look for when you're out on a walk. You might also see some scat. Scat's the scientific word for poop, and it's something the kids love to talk about. Coyote droppings resemble a knotted rope with multiple pieces, and I often find that coyote scat is black in color. I think it's because of their diet. They're big and tubular. Coyote droppings are usually 3/4 to 1.5 inches in diameter and 3 to 5 inches long. And it's not big, not like bear scat, where it's really big. Coyote feces may contain hair and bones from the prey that they eat, such as rodents, shrews, and rabbits. And you might also find seeds, grass, nuts, fruits, and berries that they eat to get rid of intestinal worms. So their diet is very varied depending on where they are, but they know what they need to eat. They're smart. So if you find coyote scat in your front yard, it means a coyote was there and you didn't even know it. But you have to get rid of it. And this is just a quick little step-by-step guide on how to remove coyote scat from your front yard. Do not remove it with your bare hands. I have to say that because I found that over and over on different websites. I guess people were doing that. Do not remove it with your bare hands. Don't sniff it. Who's doing that? I don't know. Don't get it near your face or open skin either. Remove it with gloves, shovels, and lots of bags. So here's the step-by-step guide on how to do that. Put on gloves and a mask because you don't want to breathe anything that's giving off. You may also wear rubber boots to cover your footwear. If the feces is dry, wet it with warm water. Okay, this one, we're in SoCal, so I'm not gonna encourage this. Remove the excrement using a shovel, then torch it. The flame will destroy any tapeworms. Don't do that in Southern California. Maybe triple, quadruple bag it, but please don't burn it. Even in a fireplace, don't burn that in your house because you don't want to breathe anything in. It's a different world we live in now, okay? Don't destroy it with flame, but also get rid of it and maybe triple, quadruple bag it. The area should be cleaned with hot water and disinfectant. And remove the gloves, wash your hands in hot soapy water, and wash your clothes separately from the rest of your laundry. That is how you remove coyote scat from your front yard. Many steps. It's not like cleaning a cat box, okay? It's not like picking up after your dog. They do carry a lot of diseases, and you don't want those diseases remaining on your lawn for your pet to get into. Yes? If it's dry, there might be particles that you might breathe in or might maybe go into your eye or something like that. If it's wet and tampered down, it won't give off any dry pieces or, yeah. Because I know even when I'm dusting, I try to dust with a wet cloth because it keeps everything down. Similar idea. Coyotes are omnivores, so they eat a little bit of everything, but despite this, they favor meat, of course. If you gave them a hot dog or an apple, they're probably going to go for the hot dog first. 3/4 of the coyote's diet comprises of small animals, including mice, rabbits, rats, and squirrels. The remainder is fruits, birds, eggs, vegetables, insects, and fish. A recent National Park Service study found the vast majority of urban coyotes' diet, 75%, is human-related resources. And that includes human garbage, cats, many of them feral and fed by well-meaning humans. I know I am a sucker for cats. I'm a total cat person. I don't have a dog. I don't have a space for a dog. I love my 2 cats. And I'm a sucker for feral cats that I see in my neighborhood. And I've been feeding and trying to catch one. But that might also be luring coyotes into my neighborhood. And I live in downtown Redlands, and there's a pack of coyotes that runs through my complex in downtown Redlands. And I'm worried for the cats that I'm trying to feed. However, it is my fault. Okay, and they'll eat those cats. And the researchers surprised that fruits from ornamental plants like palm and fig trees also attract coyotes, and they will eat them. I think we froze again. Okay, coyotes belong to the family of Canidae, don't know if I'm saying that right, or canines, and they're largely related to wolves, foxes, jackals, and other wild dogs. And we're going to talk about their teeth in a second. And I do have a real coyote skull up here, and I have their top jaw and their skull and their bottom jaw in two different pieces. And if you would like to see it at the end, feel free to pick it up and touch it. Their teeth are not as sharp as a cat's teeth, but they are pretty sharp. Yeah. It's a full-size coyote. Yeah, it has. We're going to talk about the shape of their skull. It is quite small. They have a long, narrow, small snout. Okay, and the fur is an eastern coyote in the winter. So that's its winter coat. And most coyotes are only about 30 pounds. So their fur can grow pretty big because of that's their outer layer for protection. Okay, as omnivorous canines, their 4 canine teeth in the upper and lower jaw are essential in catching and grabbing their prey. Okay, so it's these teeth right here in the front, on the top, and then this is an example of one on the bottom. So those are the grabbing teeth. Okay, and they also have cheek teeth, cheek molars, that are meant for crushing and tearing apart other cheek teeth that are utilized for tearing and crushing bigger chunks of animal meat. However, the coyote's most distinct feature that separates them from their canine relatives is their small, pointed, and narrow snout or muzzle with jaws that have a ferocious bite. And their bite is 88 psi, pounds per square inch. Their narrow lower jaw usually gives off the strongest punch. Apart from their very strong jaws, what helps coyotes defeat bigger animals is their nature to hunt in pack, giving them more strength in taking down prey. So when they do go hunting, a lot of times they're more successful if they go out in a group versus by themselves. So if you see a pack of coyotes, they're hungry. They're going after something, and preferably something large that they can take down together. Their coats. I have a coyote fur coat, like I just said. It's an eastern coyote with a winter coat. And these coats are not just for their fashion, not just to look good. I'm against wearing furs. Animals can wear all the fur that they want. I think it looks great on them. But coyote coats serve as an insulating layer to help against the elements. We just had a bunch of rain last week because of Hurricane Hillary, and I saw some cats outside, and my neighbors were walking their dogs in the rain, and they look soaking wet. But if you see a coyote, they might look wet on the outside, but their fur is designed to keep their skin dry or warm on the inside. So they definitely have a protective layer, homegrown protective layer. And the coats are fantastically camouflaged, helping them blend into the landscape, especially during the drier months. The coats aren't large. They only cover a scrawny 30-pound frame. Coyotes are only about 30 pounds. They're not very big, even though with their coats they look much bigger. But the fur is long, reaching 4 to 5 inches in the winter. And it's pretty shaggy. When you come up at the end, definitely touch it. Feel how long it is. You can touch the bones as well. Oh, and I have a pointer. Okay, this is a coyote picture, the same picture that I showed you before. This is the same guy at the Hidden Valley Preserve in Riverside. Notice how well he blends in. Yeah, really well. Yeah, really well. Vision, coyote vision is up to 20/70, and some may have even worse vision. This basically means a coyote can see at 20 feet what a human can see at 70 feet. The one vision strength coyotes have over humans is their peripheral vision. This means that they can be very hard to sneak up on. Okay, so foxes and coyotes are similar. So look at these eyes, the eyes of a fox and the eyes of an owl. Much different shape. The pupils are smaller on the fox, where the pupils are larger for the owl, because the owls hunt at night, and they have to take in as much light as possible when hunting in a forest at night with no moon in the sky. They're able to do it really well because of their eye design. So coyotes are diurnal and can see well at any time, whereas humans see best when it's plenty of light. So they can see better at night than we can, but their peripheral vision is also better than ours, even though we can see a little further. Hearing and smells. Look at those ears. I know. The coyote's sense of smell and hearing is simply amazing. This animal can hear sounds Sound cues in the best conditions at a distance of up to 9,000 yards. I don't even know how far 9,000 yards is, but it sounds far. I'm not a football player, so if you tell me yards, I don't play football, so I don't know how long that is to run with a ball. Their sense of smell is so powerful that they can locate prey underneath the snow, as can owls, surprisingly. This powerful nose is also used to distinguish dangerous predators, including hunters, and it's believed that coyotes can smell such predators from over a mile away. So they can tell when a hunter's coming up to a mile away. So if you find a coyote in your neighborhood, it's probably your fault or your neighbor's fault. This is what I mean by that. It's everyone's job to secure their trash, keep their pet food and pets inside, and get rid of low-hanging fruit, literally. So look around your yard, look around your neighbor's yard, look at your neighborhood, look at your little block, and see where's the welcome mat for the coyotes. Your neighbor might not even know if they put the trash out a day before. That is luring a coyote into the neighborhood. So we're going to talk about what to do in case you see someone laying out the welcome mat for a coyote. But this is a few pictures of coyotes eating fruit. If you don't think they eat fruit, they do. This is a coyote stealing an apple. And this is a trail camera with a coyote stealing a watermelon. It looks good, doesn't it? So coyotes are the ultimate American survivor. Unlike mountain lions, wolves, and bears, they were hunted to near extinction in the state-sponsored predator control program. Coyotes do not give in easily. Coyotes are the ultimate American survivor. They have endured persecution all over the place, and they are sneaky enough. They eat whatever they can find, insects, smaller mammals, and garbage. Stanley G. Gert, at Ohio State University, professor and wildlife ecologist who runs the Urban Coyote Research Project, which studies coyotes in the Chicago area, said in a recent interview that coyotes are extremely flexible and adaptable to different kinds of environment. They're generalists for sure, so generalists tend to do pretty well in cities. They also benefit once they move into the cities. So here's what we can do when we live among the coyotes. Take away the welcome mat. You guys live, I live in Redlands. You guys live on a beautiful golf course. I love driving through here when I'm visiting family, when I'm here visiting friends. I don't play golf, but I love golf courses because it's green, there's trees, there's ponds and lakes. It's just beautiful, but that's just a welcome mat for coyotes. Okay, it's a habitat. A habitat provides a food source, water, and shelter. All three of those means you're going to have wildlife. And if we take our trash out, we don't want to wake up early in the morning, we want to sleep in, and it's trash day, let's set the trash out the night before. Well, guess what might happen? Coyotes might go through it. They smell the trash, those chicken bones that you threw away. Okay, so we need a wildlife-proof garbage in sturdy containers with tight-fitting lids. Take trash out. The morning pickup is scheduled. Unfortunately, we have to wake up early if we want to avoid a problem with wildlife. So I went on Amazon and I looked up wildlife-proof trash cans, and they did have trash cans, but they also had these handy-dandy cords that they strap on the top of your trash can lid, and it secures them, and a wild animal cannot open them. And they're relatively inexpensive versus buying a whole new trash can. So I encourage you to go on Amazon or wherever and find maybe these straps that go on your trash can lids. That might really help keeping out birds even. Yes? It might be, yeah. So if it could, yeah, we might have to figure something out. Maybe one person in the neighborhood can be designated the unbuckle everything. Yeah, definitely. The best sprays to use to keep garbage bags the best sprays to use on garbage bags to keep wild animals away. I have not tried this. I can't say that it works, but several sites said that it does work. Ammonia is a strong-smelling chemical that's used in many cleaning products like Windex. However, it can be used as a deterrent for animals. I know if you have feral cats around, you don't want them peeing on your screen door or something, you can spray ammonia around your front door, and they say that keeps cats away. So simply mix ammonia with water in a spray bottle and spray it on your garbage bags. Maybe that's something that's a better fit than the straps on the garbage cans. The strong smell of ammonia will keep the animals away. Be sure to wear gloves and protective eyewear, of course, when handling ammonia, as it could be dangerous if not handled properly. So if anyone wants to try that and tell me how it works, hopefully it's successful. If you grill during the summer, clean your barbecue grills when you're done. You don't want any pieces of meat just sitting out there in your backyard, or if you use the public ones in the park, if there are any. So clean your grills. If you're walking your dogs, which is a great way to get exercise for you and your pet, use a 6-inch leash, not the long retractable leash. If you use a long retractable leash and the dog goes way down there and you can't get him back again in time, if you see a coyote coming or a wild animal or even a meaner dog or even someone that isn't friendly, you can't get him back in time. And you might hurt yourself or the dog trying to yank it back. So try to use a 6-inch leash or only let it out 6 feet, or 6 feet, not 6 inch, 6 feet. Okay, and as a volunteer for the San Gorgonio Wilderness Association, we just had a forest festival, a big event that we held at the Barton Flats campground, and Fish and Game came. And they had a booth set up, and I told them all the things that we were talking about today, and I showed them my presentation, all the things that we're going to cover. And the main thing they wanted you guys to know is this retractable leash is a problem. Because that coyote isn't seeing that leash connected to you. If it sees your little chihuahua, I don't know how long ago, 10 feet away from you, it's not looking at you. It's looking at that animal that's easy to grab. He's small enough, okay? And you don't have time to grab him, okay? So try to use a 6-foot leash or only let it out 6 feet. So pick up and carry your dog if you feel that it's threatened. There's nothing wrong with going on a walk and picking up your dog. Even if it's a bigger dog coming your way, pick him up and carry him for a block or two until the danger is gone. Okay, nothing wrong with that. If your dog is bigger, you probably can't do that. But if your dog is a smaller breed, pick it up and carry it for a minute. Okay, and this is true with people who are unfriendly, dogs that are unfriendly, or even bobcats, mountain lions, coyotes, pick them up. Or stand in front of it if you can't pick it up. Maybe your dog is here, there's a coyote over there, stand in front of your dog. Okay, that might deter any sort of negative interaction. But you would also do that with a child too, wouldn't you? If you couldn't pick him up, you put him behind you to protect it. They're looking for food, they're opportunistic. If that dog is any further away from the person and it's easy to grab, it'll take it. If it's hungry and it's going after something, all it wants to do is get something to eat. Yeah, they don't stalk like cats stalk. Mm-hmm. Right, it depends on the coyote. If that coyote is really comfortable around people, that person isn't scaring them away. So we're going to talk about more that you can do, okay? So stand in front of it as you would protecting a loved one. Sometimes I have little kids around me. If we're in the park setting or a preserve or in the mountain trails, I keep them behind me because I want to be in front of the danger. I want them behind me so that they can at least, it buys them some time if they have to run away. If you go on a walk, even by yourself, not just with a dog, carry a whistle, pepper spray, or a walking stick to make yourself look bigger. When I go hiking by myself, I don't like to use hiking poles. I find them distracting for me, but I take them with me every single time in case there's a wild animal. If I'm holding a walking stick or a hiking pole, that makes my arm look 2 or 3 times as long as it is, and it makes me look bigger and scarier. Carry a whistle, carry pepper spray, carry a walking stick to make yourself look bigger in case you see a wild animal. Air horns are fabulous, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes, don't overuse it. Yes. If you overuse it and he gets familiar with that sound, it's going to be counterproductive. They're just going to think that's the sound that people make. So use it if there's an emergency. And it also might alert someone to come running and help you. Okay, if you do want to use it, just know that if we're carrying it and you hear that sound, go running towards that sound. Maybe somebody needs help. So coyotes can scale 6-foot fences. Okay, I don't know if you've seen coyotes jump in your backyard. They are great jumpers. Bobcats are too, even better so because cats can climb trees. But coyotes can scale 6-foot fences, so don't leave your pet alone or make a catio-type space. Maybe extend your fence if you're allowed to. I don't know what the rules are. Maybe put some sort of barrier, chicken wire around your fence to keep it to make it that much taller. Okay, these are examples of catios that you can put out in your yard. If you have a cat that your cat likes to go outside, maybe put them in something like this. I have a balcony. I don't even have a yard, and I have 2 cats. They will not be going outside ever. They go on my patio. They're perfectly content. They were raised that way. They can sit in the sun. They can look at and listen to birds. They catch bugs. They're perfectly happy. But if I had one of these in my backyard where they can sit in the grass and sun themselves, even better. I wish I had a yard where I could put one of these in. They can look differently. If you Google catios, you're going to get 50 or more different varieties or versions. Okay? And they can be as big or as small as you want them to be. And if you make it big enough for your dog, even better. But get creative with it because it protects them. Walking groups. If you want to go on a walk, if you have a dog or not, and you want to go on a walk for exercise, especially when it gets nicer outside in the fall or the spring, or early morning when it's hot outside during the day, go in the morning or in the evening. Walk in a group. Coyotes are intimidated if they see a lot of people together. And if you have a dog, maybe pair up with someone that has a dog also. You might not want to walk next to each other. If you just want to, hey, we're going to go for a walk. Let's walk down the sidewalk together. Okay? Or we're going to go around the block. And if there's bigger numbers, then the coyotes will probably stay away. So be aware of animal sightings when walking at dusk or dawn. Just like I said, they're crepuscular. You will see not just coyotes, mountain lions, bobcats, bears in the mountains. I don't even know if you have bears that come down here. I'm not sure. But animals come out when people go away. Okay, they usually come out when the people are not around. So dusk and dawn, be prepared to see wildlife. I like to go out those times because I like to see wildlife. So what do you do if you do see a coyote? If you see a coyote going about its normal business at nighttime, leave it alone. Exercise caution if you see one during the day, as it could show that it's not fazed by human presence. If one approaches you, that's when you can resort to the waving of your hands, make yourself look big, yelling, throwing rocks, finding other ways to defend yourself with the walking stick, the air horn, the whistle, the pepper spray. Do whatever you can, but don't run from it. Stand your ground. And if you are attacked, call 911. If you see a coyote here in this area, in your neighborhood, in your yard, and it doesn't seem to pose a threat, it's just walking by, leave it alone. A docile or shy coyote is a blessing. Okay, if it's removed or it leaves that space, this territory is now up for grabs. And a more aggressive coyote or a pack of coyotes may take over the space and wreak havoc in your neighborhood. So if you have a docile one that runs around at night, just passes through, and it's not causing you or your neighbors any damage, you brought in everything, you brought in your pet food, you strap down your garbage can or you put rocks on top, it can't get into your garbage, you picked up all the low-hanging fruit, you took away the water bowl for your dog, everything is cleaned up and you still see one and it's just running past, leave it alone. Coyotes removed from an area will quickly be replaced by others. Coyote pairs hold territories, which leaves single coyotes or floaters constantly looking for a new place to call home. If attractants in a neighborhood are not removed, for example, pet food, garbage, etc., new coyotes in an area can quickly become nuisance coyotes. And no hunting. I know sometimes they're like, let's just kill them all. Counterproductive, you're going to cause a bigger problem. Research suggests that when aggressively controlled, i.e. hunting, coyotes can increase their reproductive rate by breeding at an earlier age and having larger litters. Okay, so not a good idea to start hunting them. This allows coyote populations to quickly bounce back, even when as much as 70% of their numbers are removed. So if you see one of these, it's a baby coyote. Aren't they the cutest? Very cute. So hunting them actually increases their numbers. Some sort of instinct survival in them kicks in by having larger litters when their other adults, other coyotes in the area are starting to get hunted. So they have bigger litters, they start earlier, because their goal is survival. It's nearly impossible to completely eradicate coyotes from an area. Despite boundaries and large-scale efforts to kill coyotes over the last 100 years, coyotes have in fact expanded their range throughout the U.S. and Canada tremendously. One study found that killing 75% of a coyote population every year for 50 years would still not exterminate the population. So that's not a solution. So why are they here? What is their role in the ecosystem, aside from being beautiful? Beautiful picture. Coyotes help keep the balance in nature in order. Education is a solution to their coexistence. We need to learn about the animals that we live near so that we can adjust our lifestyle slightly to their lifestyle, and they need to adjust to ours as well. Coyotes contribute to many beneficial aspects to our ecosystem as they are helpful to farmers, ranchers, gardeners, and homeowners. Coyotes kill destructive vegetation-eating rodents, as they are 80% of the coyote's diet. Natural rodent control is always preferable to man-made poisons and inhumane traps. So instead of putting poison out, let the cats get the rodents in your yard, let the snakes get them, let the coyotes get them. Don't put out poison. Poison never leaves the ecosystem. It gets transferred from one animal to the other. Okay, coyotes also eat insects that have saved many farms from insect invasion. We're fortunate to share our homes with coyotes. Let's look at it like that. We're fortunate to share our homes with coyotes and other animals. And it's important that we come to appreciate and understand the fascinating animals in whom we share our magnificent planet. 100%, yeah. So in my research, and I did not include this because I didn't know how long my presentation was going to be, how much time I was allowed. That was one of the things that I read, that bird feeders are a huge attractant to animals. So not just coyotes. If you don't want cats eating your birds, get rid of the bird feeder, or clean it up often. Clean up the excess bird seed that is on the ground, because that, like you said, attracts other birds to come on the ground. It attracts cats, it attracts coyotes, it attracts bobcats, because that is just the dinner bell being rung for these animals. So absolutely, if you have a neighbor that loves birds, I love birds too. I just live on a patio with no hose. I can't clean up bird poop, so I don't put it out. But I would love to have a bird feeder and look at the birds, but that's just more ways for my cats to kill those birds. It's just a little banquet right there. So if you have a neighbor that loves the birds, educate them, tell them, try to clean up the birdseed as much as possible. If not, guess what's going to happen? Larger animals are going to come in and eat those birds.
Are they protected by the government?
You can't just walk out of your front yard if you see a coyote. You can't just kill it. You can't just fire a gun or a bow and arrow. You just can't do that.
That's what I was wondering.
However,
some of my neighbor friends are saying, well, if it's me or the coyote, I got my gun, I'll kill him. Like they're going to go out and kill him. I said, you know.
Can't do that, no.
Would they get put in jail, I hope?
Absolutely. Yeah, they will.
Yay.
No, yeah, they will. If they miss, the coyote goes free and they get locked up. So, yeah, you cannot fire you can't fire a gun willy-nilly, especially in a neighborhood. Coyotes are hunted frequently. There are coyote hunts all the time. This presentation is all facts on my research. It's not my opinion. I'm not going to share my strong opinion on hunting. We're going to leave that alone. But they are hunted frequently. So if we can't shoot them in a neighborhood, but I know they do have coyote hunts all the time because they want the numbers to go down. That's why we need to educate people on the cause and effect of that and how it's not effective. Okay, they think it's gonna make the numbers go down, but only it's making them go up. Right. Any other questions? Yeah.
1 second.
Hi. I'm just wondering, I've lived here 23 years, and this is the first year that so many dogs have been killed. Is there a chance that there's really no predators here for coyotes, and they keep multiplying? And there's not much. In my neighbor, I was outside about 9 o'clock, and I heard this scream, and I ran over. She was sitting in a chair with her dog on a leash, and the coyote grabbed it, and she was able to pull it away, and it's okay. But they're taking them on a leash. So that's the bad part.
Right. So to address your question, are there larger predators? No, not really. They're gone. But do we want to live with mountain lions too? Like, we don't want to live with mountain lions also, and those are the major predators for coyotes.
Do bobcats kill them?
Possibly.
They're kind of small.
Do we know if bobcats kill coyotes? Do we know that? Without me grabbing my phone and Googling it, I think they probably can. Bobcats are a little bit bigger and heavier than coyotes. Yes. Yes, the bobcat will win. Whether they hunt them on a regular, I don't think they do. But if, like you said, if there's a fight between the two, but we're so sparse with our larger predators because they're gone. Coyotes are here. That's why we need to clean up our lifestyle. Clean up, not that we're living a bad life, but we need to get away from leaving things out. I know your friend had the dog in her lap or dog close by. That's just, we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant, not letting our animals go outside to do their business just for a second, because that's when it can happen.
That's what I was going to ask you too, because a friend of ours, several of them dogs have been killed right around here, and I'd say the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, like 5 of them that I personally know. And a friend of mine, she called security when it said bobcat, and they came down and said that a bobcat got her dog, and she lives on the golf course off of Pebble Beach, which surprised me. So I guess how could we?
Anything that was addressed in this presentation is also applies to bobcats.
Okay, thank you.
It also applies to bobcats. When you go for a walk, you're going to see the cats at the same time of day. They're going after the same types of meals as the coyotes, and they're actually better climbers than coyotes because they can climb trees. So anything that applies to coyotes, apply it to bobcats. Yes.
Yeah, I live on the golf course off Pine Valley, and I have had many encounters with coyotes. One thing that we need to do is we need to haze them. So if you see a coyote going up the golf course or somewhere else, don't just stand there and watch it. Wave your hand, shout, maybe grab some pots and pans, bang them, because eventually they're going to find, oh, I'm not wanted here. But when we just leave them alone all the time and there's plenty of dogs for them and cats for them to get, that becomes their home. And we need to let them know this isn't your home. You need to, you can go up in the hills and everything, but, we need to haze them. And, however we can do that, yell, shout. You can even take a hose, spray it with water. And so don't just ignore it. Try to take some action. Obviously, be safe about it, so you're not going to get hurt. But I think that's really important to let them know that, we don't like you here.
Right, especially during the day, because coyotes do most of their hunting at night, and that's when they're out and people are in. But during the day, if you see a pretty bold coyote, do your best to scare it away. It's not welcome here. That way it's not getting comfortable. Okay, it's not getting comfortable, especially during a coyote during the daytime.
And then I have one question, because there was one time I was making, it was cooked pork, and I cooked it on my counter, in the stove, and I opened my little window, which is bordering the golf course, and it was very strong smell. And within a couple minutes, I had it sounded like a whole pack of coyotes right outside on the other side of the wall. And I couldn't see them because it was dark, but they were right there, and they didn't have the sound like they had killed something. They were just going crazy. And I'm thinking, is that what it was? I shut my window, and they dispersed. But I'm wondering, as soon as they smelled that smell, that was meat.
Right.
And that got them all excited.
Usually they make those noises. Actually, I didn't go over their vocals. They have 11 different vocal varieties that they use for a variety of different reasons. And one of those is when they do find something that they're hunting, they do make those noises. And they do communicate with each other from long distances with different pitches and tones. And I didn't go, like I said, I didn't go over that. But it could have been that one of them was telling someone, hey, it smells good over here, come over, calling their group over. Or maybe something you didn't see that they were going after that happened to be near your open window. I'm not sure. But definitely, our lifestyle draws them to us. So I wouldn't be surprised if your good cooking went out the window and it drew them in. I wouldn't be surprised, because coyotes are opportunistic. Right back here.
So sorry.
Hi, I've always heard too that they watch what you do every day, and they get to know what your habits are. And if you're in the backyard and you let your dog out every day at a certain time, they can hide around on the side yard and just wait and get your dog.
Yeah, absolutely. They're accustomed to human habits, human behaviors. That's why they've been following human villages. We call this a village for 15,000 years. You know, ancient civilizations have evidence that they have coyotes in their villages as well. They follow people. They love our lifestyle. Absolutely, they follow our behaviors. Definitely. So that's why we have to be aware. We adjust to all kinds of things in our life. We adjust when we're younger to getting older. We adjust to jobs. We adjust to moving. We adjust to family changes. We adjust to health. We adjusted to COVID. We have to adjust to coyotes. We have to be vigilant. We can't let our guard down, because if we let our guard down and we just think, oh, I let my dog out all the time, he's only going to be out a second, we can't be doing that, especially in this beautiful area, in this Banning Pass, on a golf course, between these hills, between these mountain passes. We just have to constantly be aware that we are living alongside coyotes, and just do the best that you can, but never let your guard down. Yes.
I read on, I think it was the Sun Lakes today on Facebook, and it says this morning at 5:30 in the morning on Championship Course 14 near Glen Eagles, there was a loud cry and somebody got a dog.
Yeah, it happens, and it's going to continue to happen. That's just the nature of living here, unfortunately. Yeah.
Do they know there's a dog or a cat at our residence?
Yes, okay. They do. Absolutely. Just like I said, I live in downtown Redlands. I live on State and Center, and we have packs of coyotes coming in, and I have cats on my balcony. I know they can smell the cats on my balcony, but they can't get to it.
No.
They just can't get to it.
And you should clean up their poop, your dog's poop, like right away as soon as you can, because they can smell that too.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Okay, so I'll take more questions, absolutely, but I don't want to forget, I've been up here for almost an hour, people.
Good job, Heather.
Thank you. I have handouts. This is from Fish and Game that they gave me, and I asked them if I could photocopy it, so I have about 20 photocopies of this pamphlet on keeping coyotes at a distance from our lifestyle, how to live alongside coyotes, how to protect yourself and your pets. And if you don't have a problem with coyotes, maybe you don't have a pet, but you know someone who does, take a picture of it or give it to them. Here's a handout on coyote facts from Fish and Game. Okay, and if you're interested in volunteering for the San Gorgonio Wilderness, I didn't tell them I was going to promote them, but they're everywhere, and they like to get more volunteers, and our season is about over. We have most of our volunteers come during the summer season, and we do a lot of public outreach events during the summer, but it's coming to a close, thank goodness. We can have fall weather soon. But next year, we're going to need more volunteers. So if you're interested, you don't have to do trail maintenance. You don't have to get the big crosscut saw out and start sawing away dead trees. I like to do that, but you don't have to do that. There's other ways you can volunteer. Facts about keeping your dog on a leash. Maybe you have a neighbor that just says, I don't care about leashes. Maybe give them this little card, put it on their door. If you're interested in coyotes at all, Coyote America, like I said, I got this on Amazon a couple weeks ago. It's a fabulous book. And this book was a little pricey. I don't know if it's in print anymore. I spent probably $100 on it a few years ago. But it's called A State of Change, and it's by Laura Cunningham, and she does all the illustrations. It's all about the natural landscape of California before we got here. And it's very beautiful. It's fascinating, and it makes me wish I was here before everyone else was. Yes, well over 100 years ago. So this is a book I do recommend. If you can find it used on eBay, even better, because it was quite pricey. But if you're interested in that, invest in it. Like I said, when we're done here, if I answer all your questions, please come up here and touch our eastern winter coat coyote and our skull. And take a look at the picture. And if you have any comments or questions, I'd be willing to take even more. Any others?
Heather,
Yes, Dolores.
This lady here had a question. Now, like when they're in packs or they have made a kill, they howl, correct?
Yes.
Do they bark as well?
They make barking type sounds, not like your typical German Shepherd, but they like I said, they have a variety of different sounds that they make, and they're in the canine family, so all canines make similar sounds. Mm-hmm. If you go on YouTube and YouTube coyote sounds, you can hear a wide variety of different sounds. If I knew we would have sound, I would have included that, but that's okay. Maybe I'll come back and do a part 2 on coyote sounds and videos. But if you go on, you can hear those vocalizations.
I bet you can pull up those sounds on your phone.
I probably could.
Yes.
Probably could, yes. As I'm sure everyone else could also.
Yeah.
Yes. The only difference I would look for would be the paw prints. It would be, gosh, cats tend to carry away things. They don't like to eat where they kill. They tend to carry away and eat somewhere else. I don't know if coyotes eat and kill at the same place. I'm not really sure. I didn't really come across that info in my research. Maybe I'll look again specifically at that. Oh, yes.
In the last 6 to 8 weeks, 5 dogs have been killed by coyotes, 1 by a bobcat, and 1 by a raccoon.
Yes, raccoons, anything that applies to coyotes applies to raccoons. Raccoons are just as vicious. They can even take down a deer. They can be over 50 pounds. And they carry diseases, as all wild animals do, but they definitely carry diseases. And they have opposable thumbs. So I feel like anything that has thumbs can break into things and cause a lot of problems, and raccoons absolutely can cause problems. So don't mess with a raccoon. They will attack people, especially if they're rabid. They don't have any boundaries. They're a little crazy. Cute as all, but crazy. Yes. So I know there's so much more information on coyotes out there on YouTube, on Google, in books. There's so much that is not included. I just couldn't go on forever and ever and ever on the facts about coyotes, but if you're more interested, please do your own research also. Get some of the literature up here, maybe even call for Fish and Game. I know Fish and Game does need volunteers from time to time, so contact them. I think their information's on the back of this flyer. Get more information and educate your neighbors. If they didn't come and you know that they could use some of this info, tell them what we talked about today, and maybe your little block or your neighborhood can be one more safe neighborhood that coyotes aren't going to enter.
I just have one quick question.
Yeah.
Do coyotes always grab a dog by the neck?
I believe that's their typical hunting manner. I know a lot of bigger animals tend to go towards the neck or the jugular. Maybe not the scruff, but if you watch animals in the wild when they hunt, they always go towards the neck.
That's what I thought, because I bought a coyote collar that has, and when I take her out at night, I mean, my dog in our yard is always on a leash, but I did buy a coyote collar, and it has big spikes on it, and it just goes around her
I've
neck.
never heard of such a thing. That's
Yeah,
quite the invention.
it's from Amazon,
Okay,
and
that's
it's the same people that make the coyote coat. But I put it on her when I take her out before bedtime, and I don't know, I'm just hoping it works, but it has big spikes and it doesn't bother the dog.
Yeah, a coyote collar, nice invention. Animals do tend to go towards the neck, the jugular. So I like that. That's a really neat thing.
Another thing, if you have a fence, there's something called coyote rollers,
Okay.
and you can attach them to the fence. If a coyote tries to jump up, they can't because it rolls back.
Yes, I have seen it. I didn't know it was called coyote rollers. I heard it was to keep cat. You guys have them? I know that if you want to keep your cat in the yard, they had something similar, but I guess it could work the opposite way, keeping wild animals out of your yard. I like that. Pass that info around to your neighbors too.
So I had gotten a puppy 3 years ago, and I'm on the golf course, and I wanted to put a vinyl fence on the side, and I wanted a coyote roller on the top, and the association would not okay it. So you say you have coyote rollers? Oh, okay. Because there's a lot of people that aren't on the golf course, and they're surrounded with fence, but they still jump over that. Yeah. So if you want to, I think the association should allow that, because it's a problem.
Attends board meetings, maybe they have a connection to the association. I would fight like heck to get those approved, to have those put in, especially if the number of attacks, like you say, are going up. That needs to be repealed. That needs to be allowed, especially if we're going to live here in this beautiful area on a golf course. We need to have that sort of protection. And I would say, my best guess is 80 to 90% of residents here have dogs or cats, that we do not want coyotes or bobcats or mountain lions or bears or whatever jumping the fences and getting in. So try to get that overturned so that you are allowed to have those. I don't live here. I can't fight for that for you. I would love to, but fight for that. Make sure that is changed, because those aren't eyesores. Those aren't changing the colors of your homes, having something stand out that doesn't blend in. I know everything likes to be the same here, which that's why I like coming in here, because everything looks so peaceful. Nothing really stands out as obnoxious. Well, that's in someone's backyard, and they're not obnoxious looking, and that could save a life. Even if you have grandkids coming in your backyard, if you can get it to match your fence, if you put little grandkids in your backyard, they're at risk too, especially little ones. So it could save human life and pet life. So if I lived here, I would fight for that. I don't know how you go about it, but please fight for that, because that's just one more way to protect ourselves. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the wonderful questions. I would love to come back and do more.
Thank you, Heather. I really appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'd like to do this again and hopefully we'll get more people, but we had other events going on, so it kind of interfered, but I appreciate her being here.